The Rugii, a mysterious Germanic tribe once feared across Europe. Yet today, their name is almost completely forgotten, a mere whisper in the past. So who were these warriors who vanished from history? Before they were a kingdom, before they were a name whispered in the halls of Rome, the Rugii were a people of the north. Their story begins shrouded in the mists of the Baltic Sea, a place of rugged coastlines and deep, dark forests. The name itself, Rugii, echoes through history, possibly linked to the island of Rügen in modern Germany, or perhaps even the rocky shores of Rogaland in Norway. Historians still debate their precise starting point, but one thing is certain: they emerged from the vast tapestry of Germanic tribes that populated northern Europe. The Roman historian Tacitus, writing in the 1st century AD, gives us one of our earliest glimpses. In his work, he mentions a tribe called the Ai, describing them as a people who carried round shields and short swords, and gave unconditional obedience to their kings. It's a brief, tantalizing snapshot, like a single surviving photograph from a long-lost era. For centuries they lived here, farming the tough soil, fishing the cold waters, and forging a distinct identity. But the world was changing. Around the 4th century, a great restlessness swept across Europe. We call it the migration period, but for the people living it, it was an age of upheaval and opportunity. Why did the Rugii leave their ancestral home? Was it a changing climate, making farming impossible? Was it pressure from other migrating groups, like the formidable Huns pushing from the east? Or was it simply the irresistible pull of the south, the promise of wealth, land, and glory within the weakening Roman Empire? Whatever the reason, they packed up and moved. This wasn't a weekend road trip. It was a generational trek, a slow, arduous journey southward. They followed the great rivers, like the Vistula, moving through what is now Poland and into the heart of the continent. Along the way, they encountered other peoples, forging alliances and fighting for survival. They became neighbors and allies with the Goths, learning from them and fighting alongside them, absorbing new tactics and technologies. This journey transformed them. They were no longer just a coastal tribe. They were becoming a hardened, mobile military force, a people defined by their resilience and battlefield prowess. They arrived at the doorstep of the Roman Empire, not as humble supplicants, but as a power to be reckoned with, ready to carve their own place in the chaotic, shifting landscape of a dying empire. Their migration was over, but their rise was just beginning. Before we dive deeper into their lost world, tap subscribe so you never miss these forgotten civilizations. By the late 5th century, the Rugii had carved out a respectable kingdom for themselves north of the Danube, in what is now modern Austria. Their king, Philotheus, ruled from his capital, Fabianus, and for a moment, it seemed their long migration had finally led to a permanent home. They had power, land, and a strategic position in the heart of a crumbling Roman world. But in the chaotic chessboard of post-Roman Europe, a strong neighbor can quickly become a deadly rival, and their neighbor to the south was one of the most formidable figures of the age. Enter Odoacer, the Germanic general who had famously deposed the last Western Roman emperor in 476 AD and now styled himself King of Italy. Odoacer and the Rugii were not natural enemies. In fact, they were both part of the same shifting landscape of Germanic peoples filling the void left by Rome. The trouble began, as it so often did, with political maneuvering from afar. The Eastern Roman Emperor Zeno, wary of Odoacer's growing power in Italy, saw the Rugii as a convenient pawn. He secretly encouraged King Philotheus to challenge Odoacer, hoping to weaken both tribes in the process. It was a classic and ultimately catastrophic case of playing with fire. Odoacer, not one to be trifled with, decided on a preemptive strike. In the winter of 487 AD, he marched his army across the frozen Alps into the Rügian heartland of Noricum. The Rügian warriors, though fierce, were caught off guard and outnumbered. The decisive battle was swift and brutal. The Rugian army was shattered, and King Philethius and his queen Gizo were captured. Odoacer had them taken back to Italy, and in a stark message to any other potential rivals, executed. The kingdom was broken, but the Rugian spirit was not. The survivors, led by Philethius' son, Fredericus, attempted a desperate counterattack the following year. But it was too little, too late. They were defeated once more, and this time, the loss was final. The Rugian kingdom, which had burned so brightly for a brief time, was extinguished. Their warriors scattered, their lands were absorbed, and the tribe itself began a slow, inexorable fade into the mists of history, becoming a footnote in the story of a much larger empire to come. So, after all that drama, the migrations, the battles, the brief, shining moment of a kingdom, what did the Rugii leave behind? If you go looking for a Rugian Colosseum or a grand palace, you'll be looking for a very long time. There are no ruins, no great stone empire. Their story isn't written in monuments, because they were a people on the move, building with wood and earth, not marble. When their kingdom fell, it was swallowed whole, its physical structures absorbed or returned to the soil. Instead, we become historical detectives, piecing together their existence from scattered clues. We find them in the margins of other people's stories, in the writings of Roman and Gothic chroniclers like Eugipius and Jordanes. These accounts are often biased, painting the Rugii as troublesome barbarians or convenient political pawns. But between the lines, we catch glimpses of their society, their leaders, and their impact on the world. These aren't autobiographies. They're more like witness statements, and we have to sift through them carefully. The Earth itself holds secrets. Archaeologists have unearthed fragments of their material world, distinctive pottery, the ornate brooches or fibulae that held their cloaks, and of course, the remnants of their weapons. Each rusted spearhead or shield boss is a tangible link to a Rugian warrior who once stood on a battlefield. These objects don't give us grand narratives, but they speak of daily life, of craftsmanship, and of a people prepared for conflict. Their legacy is a ghost in the machine of history, powerful, elusive, and gone in a flash. The Rugii didn't vanish without a trace, but their traces are faint whispers. A name in an old book, a piece of metal in a museum, a question mark on a map. They remind us that history isn't just about the empires that lasted, but also about the countless cultures that rose, fell, and faded, leaving us to wonder.